Hey there, Guardians. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to Destiny 2 Oversimplified, the channel for new and returning players. Now, today we're going to be looking at Gunslinger, which is the Solar Hunter subclass. I'm going to be talking about the 3 different super abilities, all of the abilities, the aspects, and then I'll cover 3 exotics that are essential to this subclass. So to start out, we have the supers. So Golden Gun Marksman summons a precision flaming pistol that disintegrates targets with solar light. So this one, since you have 2 different golden guns, I'll get to the second one later. This one deals increased precision damage, over penetrates targets, and creates orbs of power on precision hits. So I'm going to activate it. I have 3 shots, and then it's gone. So there is one exotic that is key to this one to make it a boss killing machine. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the next one. So Marksman is good for precision damage and boss killing. Deadshot also summons a golden gun, but instead of the increased precision damage, it states causing solar conditions while your super is active refunds a golden gun round. So I'm going to activate it, and you can see I have more shots here. I have 6 shots. So this one is all about refreshing your shots by causing solar conditions. Deadshot is more used in PvP, which is the crucible, playing against other players. Not a lot of people use Deadshot in regular non-competitive content. And the last super we have for Solar Hunter is Blade Barrage, where you vault into the air and unleash a volley of solar charged explosive knives. This one is also very high damage for bosses, and there's one exotic that's really key to this one. All right, moving on to abilities. So first we have our class ability, our dodges. So we have standard dodges here for Solar Hunter. Marksman dodge reloads your weapon, Gambler's dodge recharges your melee while you're near an enemy, but we have an added exclusive dodge to Solar Hunter called Acrobat's dodge. Now, when you use this one, you're going to land, and then it makes you and nearby allies radiant. And radiant is one of the solar terms. If you ever need a reminder of what these terms mean, you can always highlight an ability, and it'll explain what it does. So I'm going to use my class ability, and then I get radiant. Also, my allies will get it as well. Standard jumps for Hunter. As always, I recommend triple jump over high and strafe. So you have 4 melees for Solar Hunter. The first one is lightweight knife, where you quickly throw a knife that deals moderate damage. And then precision shots with the knife make you radiant for a short duration. Next up, we have knife trick. So you throw a fan of flaming knives that scorch targets on hit. Looks like that. The third melee we have is proximity explosive knife. So this one, you're going to attach it to surfaces, and then when enemies walk near it, it'll explode. And our last melee is weighted throwing knife. So you're going to throw the knife and deals extra precision damage and causes scorched targets to ignite. And then also precision final blows with this knife immediately recharge your class ability. So as far as which one to use, when you're starting out, I recommend just using knife trick, but there is one exotic that takes advantage of proximity explosive knife, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. So moving on to grenades. So this is super simple. You're only going to really use 2 grenades while on Solar Hunter. The other ones just don't synergize with the class that much. So your main grenade is going to be Healing Grenade, because Solar Hunter is a very squishy and vulnerable subclass. But if you want more damage, or you feel like the content you're doing isn't very difficult, then Solar Grenade will get you through the rest of it. So moving on to aspects. So the first one we have is Knock 'em Down. Now, as you can see, we have 3 aspects here. Knock 'em Down, you're going to have equipped the majority of the time. The reason being is this aspect improves all 3 of your supers. It just makes them all better. Normally, you're going to choose Knock 'em Down and then between one of the other 2 to fill out your 2 aspects. So Knock 'em Down gives you damage resistance on your Deadshot Golden Gun. It gives you increased duration on your Marksman Golden Gun, and it launches more projectiles on Blade Barrage. And then also, while radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife fully refund your melee energy. So the next aspect we have is On Your Mark, and these are typically the 2 aspects that I like using on Solar Hunter. So this one states precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration, and this stacks 3 times. Activating your class ability immediately grants maximum stacks of On Your Mark. So this just gives you handling and reload speed, and I'll show you here. I can use my class ability, and you see I have On Your Mark times 3. And if I get precision final blows, I can keep refreshing this, and it just gives me a lot of reload speed. So the last aspect we have for Solar Hunter is called Gunpowder Gamble. Now this one is a bit niche in its use, but it can be a lot of fun. So it states defeating targets with solar abilities, solar debuffs, or solar weapons charges up an improvised solar explosive. And then you can use your grenade button to throw the solar explosive that can be shot in midair to cause an ignition. So to test this out, I'm using Nullify, which is a solar pulse rifle. And I'm just going to get some kills, and you see I already have it ready to go. So I'm going to throw it, and then I can shoot it in air. And there's a small cooldown on the left, but I can charge it back up. They're pretty cool. You definitely need to play around it, but it can be fun if you just want to use it. Alright, and moving on to some exotics. So this is going to be one of your best exotics for boss damage. This is called Celestial Nighthawk. It's an exotic hunter helmet, and this states precision final blows reduce the cooldown of your super. And then additionally, this modifies your golden gun to fire a single high damage shot. Targets defeated by that shot give you super energy and explode. So if you're doing any content that requires good boss damage, this turns your golden gun into a one-shot, super powered shot. Next up, we have Shards of Galanor. So these are exotic arms. So this states that throwing knife final blows decrease the cooldown of your super. And then more importantly, hits and final blows with Blade Barrage will return super energy after the super ends. So I'm gonna wait for all these guys to spawn, use my super, killed a lot of guys. And you can see I already got 50% of my super back. I can also use my melee, which gives me more super energy. So if you like using Blade Barrage, then Shards of Galanor is gonna be very good for you. Next up is another pair of exotic arms. So this is Caliban's Hand. So this states your proximity knife scorches targets it damages with its explosions or ignites targets on final blow. And then also after throwing a proximity knife, you gain increased melee regeneration until the knife explodes. So if you like using proximity knife, then Caliban's Hand is going to be a really nice exotic to use with that. So I'm going to throw my melee. It's hard to tell, but my melee is recharging very fast while we're waiting for the proximity to detect an enemy. And then the last part says that it scorches targets. So I'm going to throw it, and you can see the scorch spread to enemies and kill them as well. So the last exotic I want to show off is not really used too much, as it's not super strong in the current sandbox of the game, but it can be a lot of fun, and it's the Bombardiers. So this one works with all the subclasses, but specifically if you're on solar, then while you're dodging, it'll scorch targets with an explosive that you leave behind. So I'm going to go up to some enemies, I'm going to dodge near them, it'll leave behind an explosive, and a lot of them got scorched and died. So yeah, this is Gunslinger Solar Hunter. So we talked about the 3 supers, we talked about some abilities, talked about the 3 aspects, and I went over just a few exotics that work really well with the class. Solar Hunter is extremely strong in today's sandbox of the game. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed the video. And if not, just leave a comment down below of maybe something that you wanted to see with Solar Hunter. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.